Hey everybody, welcome to Northernlion Plays Hand of Fate 2. As you can see, the developers of Defiant Games were nice enough to put me into the game. That's me, kind of like a more jacked version of Jason Statham. I will say though, what's up with this? Bicep, tricep, true to life. Deltoid, nicely rounded, good striation. My dude is skipping elbow day. He looks like he's got Cloud Strife arms here, and that is, okay, so this is obviously not actually me, in case that's not abundantly clear, because he doesn't have glasses, and he has a better hairline than I had when I was 14. Either way, Hand of Fate 2, it's the sequel to Hand of Fate 1. It comes out this Tuesday, November 7th, 2017. It's not a sponsored video. I'm playing it, I got a review code, I played an hour last night, and I was like, this is like Hand of Fate 1, but better. 22 levels, I believe, 22 scenarios in the campaign mode, so we're going to start up a new game, and in particular, what has been really good about Hand of Fate 2 so far is the board stuff. So if you're not familiar, it's basically two games mashed together. One of them is a tile-based dungeon crawler, where you go, like, almost like a desktop dungeons, but in higher fidelity. You know, you click on a tile, you eat food, gain HP, go to the tile, and then anything could happen on that tile. Like FTL, node-based encounters, I guess. You could go to a tile and it's like, hey, you can buy something here, you could buy equipment. You go to another tile, it's like, hey, there's a creepy goblin, and the goblin gives you a choice of things to do, and depending on what you do, you can have different results. There's also games of skill that happen over the course of it as well. You can roll dice, choose between cards, play a little 3-card Monty to see if you can get success, and then beyond that, there's like Assassin's Creed or, you know, Batman Arkham game style combat. We're just gonna get started here. But yeah, I think we were gonna do probably a new video per episode, or maybe sometimes there might be 2 campaign levels in a single mission. Sometimes there might be, you know, half of a campaign mission in a single video, depending on the,
even now, gone to form the soul of the game.
Depending on the length of the campaign. But I'm gonna let the narrator speak. We're gonna try to treat this as like a little bit of a, you know, a dialogue between he and myself.
And vengeance. We must ride, for time is short, and you have much to learn. Make your first choice, and let us set these wheels in motion once more.
Okay, look, I would prefer not to be demonetized, please. We're gonna make ourselves be a male next to an ox here.
These cards represent your history and our game. We know where they end, for you are here. Therefore, these cards must guide you to my side. Let us see what the journey holds. The fool steps into nothingness, because they know no better. In the same way, you must step into the void. You are a blank slate, and together,
and I'll write your name. Okay, well.
History.
So the Fool card is the name of the level, and the golden token is what we get if we succeed. So the way that the game works, again, I'll try to explain it as best as I can. Bottom left, we've got health, food, and gold. There's some rules that apply. Every tile we go to that we've never been to before, we consume 1 food, gain 5 HP. So it's good if you need to heal to go to new tiles and hope that nothing bad happens when you get there. But it does consume food. If you have no food and you move to a new tile, you lose 10 HP because you're starving. So food is a resource you want to keep as high as possible, but you use it even if you're at max HP if you're touching new tiles. The tiles are actually a deck that you build yourself from cards that you earn from the game. So this is the tutorial. Once we beat the tutorial, we'll get essentially like a pack of cards, and then we can build a deck consisting of encounters, equipment, other stuff like that. And then that will make the game board for future levels. So you almost create, or at least influence, what the dungeons are going to be like in the future for you. You stumbled many miles through this forest in search of the thieves who robbed you. Excuse me.
Have things to do.
Though exhausted and hungry, you are determined to reclaim your father's amulet. So we're doing the quest for our father's amulet right now. 4 of Greed and the Leader. 4 of Greed just indicates the value of the card, indicates the number of enemies, and the class of the card, or the suit, indicates the type. So this is 4 thieves plus the leader, who is that dude carrying a loot doing the rock on symbol. You finally catch sight of the thieves hacking at a large tree and arguing amongst themselves. Move closer to eavesdrop.
Every element of the game has been improved.
A little self-aware.
That seem at first glance familiar.
So,
Don't worry. You will soon understand the nuances.
This is a holdover from Hand of Fate 1. This kind of like 4 or 3 card Monty that we get into. Apparently in Hand of Fate 1 you could follow the card, even though when they all kind of like coalesce into one single column on the screen, I find it impossible to see. We got a 75% chance, and we failed. You try to eavesdrop on the conspiring thieves, but their voices are muffled by the bushes. You shuffle closer to get a better view. 3 of Toil. You soon spot a group of farmers coming around the corner, bringing their wares to market. The thieves fell the tree into the path of the unsuspecting farmers and leap out, weapons brandished. Give us all your food! Leap to the farmers' defense, offer to help the farmers, warning them it won't come for free, or help the thieves with their extortion. So you do get kind of moral choices that happen. I don't know if they have broader implications. Sometimes there are other stats like fame that goes next to your gold, which we'll see a lot later, but let's just be noble for now. We'll leap to the farmers' defense. Well, you hear the leader's voice. You lads handle this. I'll meet you when you're done. This is now taking us to the second phase of the game. The, again, Arkham-style combat. And this is one of the things that people were, I guess, because Hand of Fate 1 was well-liked, but the combat was kind of considered a little bit too easy, maybe even a little bit generic. They have done some things to change it. In particular, there's a lot more enemy variety now, which necessitates changing weapons frequently, actually, if you choose to do so. But you'll see that as we go on. First things first here, we got some allies. There's our, I am using the keyboard. There's our, controls there. Really, for these early encounters, I think you need exactly 2 buttons. You need X to attack, and you need Y to defend, like that. And you can string together some pretty fluid stuff. Oh, I lost my special move. If you look in the top right, if we land 9 consecutive attacks without getting hit, which obviously I'm doing just a horrible job of with my button mashing right here, this guy's gonna die any second now. And we probably will not get to see the special. Never mind, we will, and we're a god. But yeah, if you land 9 consecutive attacks, then you get your special. Different weapons have different specials and also different requirements to get to that special. Pretty easy to start with, but it will get a little bit harder once we get past the tutorial here. The farmers fumble in their haversacks in gratitude. Thank you, adventurer. I'm sure that after they took our food, they would have taken our lives as well. We've gained 7 food. And 5 extra food. That's way more than we're gonna need. You fall on the food with a sigh, shoveling bread into your mouth to quell your hunger. And that consumes 1 food and gives us 5 HP. Their leader must still have the amulet. You set to your feet, determined to find him. A friend in need. When enjoying a moment beside the fire, you spy a strange figure approaching your camp. It's a goblin dressed in what must pass for goblin finery. From beneath a filthy fox pelt serving as an ill-fitting wig, the goblin winks at you with wild red eyes. I mean, you got it, right? Aha! I've been roaming for hours trying to find you. We must get this over with quickly if I have any hope of getting to all the people on my list before sunrise. It lowers a sack from its shoulder. Now, from within my sack, I can conjure whatever your heart desires. The goblin's voice trails off as he examines his sack. Boom, boom, boom. Well, I could, if there wasn't a blooming great big hole in it. His head disappears entirely into the bag, and his bulbous nose protrudes from the breach. A new plan, then. The goblin pulls out his last trinkets. We can take an axe, a shield, or a sword. I am going to take the sword. And this is just to introduce the idea that there is, essentially equipment that you can choose throughout the game. You get equipment cards, and oftentimes you'll have choices to buy one or choose one as loot. I don't think we need a shield because our existing shield's doing fine. And the axe is a 2-handed weapon. We're going to be fighting a lot of thieves, so we'd rather have a 1-handed weapon. The faster weapon, the better against thieves. Boom. And we'll equip that over our neglected sword. Does a little extra damage. A wise choice. Now I must go. There are many others I must visit before I can rest. The goblin runs off into the night, his foxwig flapping in the evening breeze. Excellent. Finding forest folk. I was just gonna say, this card has a token. So the way that tokens work is that some cards have like a special ability. The token is basically bonus cards you can earn to put in your deck in the future. So there's almost like a hidden or optional objective, and if we complete it, we'll get that token and then it'll unlock new cards for us. Your journey through the forest is interrupted by an inquisitive child. Are you searching for the forest folk? My uncle says that they used to walk these woods giving out gifts. I want to find one and ask for a lemon cake. As they dash off to peer under a nearby log, the child shouts back, Remember, if you meet the forest folk, get me a lemon cake. In the other direction, an eerie song hangs in the air. You attempt to find its origin. Alright. 75% chance. He's a god. You follow the song through thicket and stream until you find an open glade bathed in golden sunlight. You find an aged maiden, her posture bent like the boughs of a forest. Bows? It has been 12 winters since I had a visitor. Her voice is a whisper, yet it thunders in your ears. Okay, I'm not Bear Taffy. I'm not talented enough for that voice acting direction. You may visit me when you are in need, adventurer. And that gives us the sick token. So even if we fail the mission, we'll get the token, which will give us new cards, which might help us in the future. Okay, the Royal Road. A trail of fallen trees and distraught farmers leads you to the thieves who have stolen your amulets. It seems their infighting has only gotten worse. The bandits surround their former leader, weapons drawn, 4 of greed, and the leader as well. Everyone will get their fair share. There's no need for violence, the leader implores. Who ever heard of a thief talk about fair share, spits one. You turn up and boss us around, we've barely stabbed anyone. It's been days since I stabbed someone. Days! The leader notices you approaching and waves you over. As much as I'd love to continue this discussion regarding my stabbings, I'm afraid I have urgent business with my associate here. As he greets you, he whispers, keep me alive and there'll be plenty of gold for your trouble. Tell him gold cannot replace the amulet he stole. He holds up a finger. First rule of negotiation, never let them know what you want. Kill my associates and I will gladly return your amulet. Ever reliable, the thieves draw their blades to mug you. The leader hurries away to hide. So I'm going to spoil it a little. I'm not going to give them all my food and gold. Come on. I am going to spoil it for you a little bit. This leader actually ends up, the leader of the thieves, I should say, ends up becoming a companion for us, and we'll introduce that mechanic when we get in there. But it's almost like a secondary person in your party that can give you extra abilities. So my goal is actually, if possible, to beat these levels without getting hit. Which I know sounds like... Come on. I know sounds extremely obvious. That's the newfound ability of that sword that we got from the goblin encounter. But it really shouldn't be that difficult to do on these early enemies. Essentially, you're just pressing the Y button whenever you see green. Sometimes we'll see red, not against these guys, but sometimes we'll see red. And what you do when you see red is you use the dodge button to dodge out of the way. It's an unblockable attack. But early on, I don't want to take damage. There's no reason to. We can take enough damage just by, getting bad encounters instead of having to actually take damage from battle. With the battle resolved, the thief leader nods in approval at the carnage before him. He holds out a hand. The name is Malaclips, Bard Extraordinaire. His smile fades under your withering glare. Sensing your anger, he raises his hand in surrender. Wait! Let's not be hasty. We're on the same side here. I'm an upstanding citizen just like you. I've been working with the... I don't know why I'm talking like Tom Cruise in Vanilla Sky. I've been working with the thieves, yes, but only for the greater good. No, really, they were killing people before I came along. I know it seems bad, but look. He pulls out an amulet from his pockets and presses it into your hands. All is forgiven, yes? You stare at the amulet. It does not look familiar. Oh, Malaclips says, scratching his head. He opens a small satchel. So which one is yours? Obviously, we got the amulet of the lion. The lion amulet, that suits you. Very similar facial structure. Say, you know what? I'm lonely. You're lonely. We should work together. So we befriended him as the trickster. So he gives me abilities in combat, but he also gives me abilities outside of combat. For example, later in the game, we'll encounter new situations that we've never seen before in the Hand of Fate series, like a spinning wheel that chooses a card for us, and the card could have positive or negative impact. The trickster will allow us to re-roll a bad roll. Maybe once per mission, maybe 4 times per mission, I don't know, I can't, or maybe 4 times before he breaks forever. All I know is I've only seen it one time, and it decremented his counter from 4 to 3. So this is the end of the first part of the tutorial. So we're gonna choose our facial structure and our garb. And this is great for you guys, because now you will no longer see me as looking essentially exactly the same as the enemies that I'm facing. So first off, where am I from? I mean, a city with the mountains in the background is a fairly apt description, I would say. My face is bald. Trying to see, is there any other, like to change the facial structure a little bit more, but can't be done. And honestly, that's like, you know, those are my colors right there, so I'm okay with this. Kind of like fairly rudimentary cosmetic changes and stuff like that, but still. I don't believe that was plausible in Hand of Fate 1. From Clearwater, eh? You don't say. Good swords from Clearwater, very trusting. Oh, by the way, I mean, we, friend. Wait, let me try this again. Oh, by the way, I mean, we, friend, owe money to Vignus of the Thieves Guild. He's quite angry at us. We should journey to Meyrbridge together to appease him. Some gold might help. Although, come to think of it, I'm rather busy. Malaclipse eyes a pretty trader hiking up the road. So it would be best if you get the gold, and I'll meet you there. Alright. So we're in the second act of the tutorial now. Every time, and this was true in Hand of Fate 1, when you reach the terminal card in a dungeon, you go up or down a floor, essentially, to move on. And I believe this is the last one in this mission.
What sort you are? Strong? Clever? Wise? The circumstances under which you come here put the lie to that.
You enter a competition of strength at a fair. A gold prize is available to the winner. In the first round of the competition, your opponent is the diminutive Roland, a halfling from a traveling troupe of acrobats. So, this is another new mechanic here.
These dice are another small game embedded in our game.
Correct. We get 3 dice, and we gotta kind of Yahtzee it. Or Pirate's dice, I guess. Liar's dice. We have to get over 10 with 3. And we get 1 reroll in the middle of whatever we choose. So, we'll be hoping to get some 4s, 5s, and 6s here. I see a 6 and a 4. We already did it. There you go. So you don't even have to see the reroll mechanic. Because we defeated them, we're going to get some gold as a result. So there's 10 extra gold for us. You take your reward from the purser on the way out the tavern. When you return, you will compete in the next round for a larger prize. So this is kind of like a, I don't want to call it a persistent card, but maybe a incremental card would be a good way to describe it. If you win once, this card can show up in your deck on future missions, and you'll move on to round 2, round 3, and I don't even know what happens after that point, but I'm assuming you get larger prizes if you continue to win. Maybe the challenges become tougher as well. Deep water. While crossing a stone bridge, you suddenly find your... Sorry, I shouldn't talk over the narrator.
What concern is worrying at your mind?
I'm trying not to talk over...
Fall into the waters beneath.
See, I'm trying not to talk over him, but sometimes I have a thought and I'm saying something and then he comes in and I don't want to lose the thought. I'll work on it. While crossing a stone bridge, you suddenly find yourself confronted by a villainous band. So it's 4 blight boys. I don't know what those are. You can stand and fight the fiends or throw yourself to the mercy of the river below. Let's leap into the river below. Because it has a dice target, I'm assuming there could be an extra reward or something. Excuse me, it said target 10. I guess we got to get 11 to beat the target. Is that the reasoning? Alright, so this time we only have 9. We're going to take the 6, and we're going to reroll the 1 and the 2. And we need a total of 5 or more between them. So shake them up here. Let's go! Bare minimum. Through a combination of luck and skill, you manage to avoid the worst of the river's hazards. You emerge on the banks further downstream. Well, we didn't have to get in combat, so that's one thing. So this is something I like about Hand of Fate 2, is that the board section of the game seems more fleshed out. It's almost like a Dungeons and Dragons sort of thing with more skill checks and dice rolls and etc., etc. The combat has gotten better. You'll see more of it being better as we get a broader spectrum of equipment, but the board stuff is really neat.
The roads have become even more deadly since the Empire has come to power, despite their promises of the opposite.
The road ahead is blocked by an overturned carriage and a woman calling for help. Please help, she cries. I've been robbed by a band of thugs. Is there anything you can do? I mean, it's either assist or refuse to help. You could probably run a pretty easy probability calculation on how likely we are to get 12 or greater. And that means we need 3 4s or above, and 4, 5, and 6 are half of the dice here. Or half of the probabilities. So, like, on our first roll, I think we have a 50% chance, and then the ability to self-select the low ones and re-roll them probably takes us up to, like, a 70 or an 80. So this feels relatively, I wouldn't say safe, but it feels plausible. Now we need a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6. So we have a 66% chance just on this one right here. Let's go! Dude, thank you, physics-enabled probability engine that caused us to land on a 3 and then ricochet into a 6. Thank you, the woman says as you help her from the carriage. Please accept this as a token of my gratitude. Oh, 15 extra gold. And 5 food, which is now, we're like extremely overkill as far as food goes. Carnival.
In aid of what?
Nearing the sleepy hamlet of Dulwich, you find the villagers in the midst of some kind of celebration. Much of the activity concerns a large paper and wood statue depicting a fearsome warrior looming triumphantly over a prone lizardman. Ask the local what's going on. A friendly stable hand explains, in a bygone age, our town was beset by half men, half lizards. There was no food, no respite, and very little hope. Salvation came in the form of a nameless warrior who hunted the beast for little more than a handful of coins and a crust of bread. Well, I guess he wasn't on a lobe-car diet. Did I say lobe-car diet? He smiles warmly at the festivities. We honor the warrior like this. The statue is filled with food and gold, and we take turns smashing it to bits with the club. You're welcome to join us, and you may keep whatever falls out. If you like smacking pinatas... obviously we'll follow the parade. The parade and statue are winding their way into the town and are almost out of sight. The parade ends in the town square. You watch as the villagers take turns smashing the statue with the club and gathering the food and gold that spills out. A local notices your interest and asks if you would like a turn. I will join in. Huge success. Okay, just regular success. I can live with that. I was trying to follow it, but I don't know if it's possible, dude. The club strikes the chest of the treat-laden beast. Some gold falls out. You survey the spoils and try to scoop them up before anyone else can. So we got 10 gold, 5 gold, no gold. I'm taking number 3 this time. Let's go! Actually balling out of control. You scramble to gather the bounty that you unleashed. Would you like to try to gather more? Let's go. Oh, this time. One last chance. I'm going number 1. Oh, I thought I saw it. Before you can gather anything, a young child shovels the bounty into a basket and scampers off. With your turnover, you leave. That's okay, as long as it went to a good cause.
Here we come
Dead
to
drop.
the end of the beginning. Running errands for mages. This will become a theme, I dare say.
You arrive at Meyerbridge as the sun begins to dip below the horizon. You find Malaclips perusing a selection of cheeses by the market. Ah, if it isn't my good friend the adventurer. Did you bring the gold? Vignus has arranged to meet us at the graveyard. We'll go to the graveyard because we've explored everything. You wonder whether the spot was chosen for its seclusion or for easy body disposal. Vignus greets Malaclips with a sly grin. Looks like you turned off after all, and with a lackey in tow. We had our doubts, you know. Anarchist of greed. So the anarchists throw bombs and spit fire that warrants dodging instead of blocking. Vignus cracks his knuckles and giggles. Well now, Malaclips, convince me. What's to stop me from cutting off your head today? You reveal your gold as Malaclips scrounges in his pockets for some too. The heavy satchel of riches lands at Vignus' feet with a thud that echoes through the silence of the cemetery. You lose 45 gold. That's the town's gold. That's our deal done, Malaclips says, worry obvious in his voice. No need for any further troubles. I'm sorry, Mal, Vignus grins, with his voice changing every time. You should have known the guild was never going to let you pay with cash stolen from our members in the first place. And we've got 4 thieves, plus the anarchist. So at least we're going to see a little enemy variety here. But this is the end of the tutorial. It's also the story of a girl who cried a river and drowned the whole world. So it's going to be incrementally a little bit more and more complex as time goes on here. It's Batu from Ghost in the Shell, obviously. So we're going to look, there's spots on the ground that are going to be on fire. And then when we get close to him, he's also going to spit fire at us. No, I thought I made it out of there. You don't need to tutorialize the evade. I understand the concept of an evasion. So, probably the right thing to do is to just kite these guys. Use them as an opportunity to try to build up our... special, even though it doesn't do that much more damage than a sustained combo. Excuse me, sir. 2 hits, please. Use the special to do more damage against the main foe here. And slowly take care of the riffraff. Taking way more damage than I'd like to admit over the course of this, but either way, here we are. Give him a nice little finishing move. He's gonna go down. They might make us do a finisher. They are, yeah. So the finishers are like executions. This guy, if he didn't die from the head stabbing, he's definitely gonna die from like cracking his neck backwards when he landed on that stone. It's very dangerous. We succeeded. It's the final mission of this tutorial, so it doesn't really matter that we took more damage than I'd like to admit, but so be it. Malaclipses scratches his chin thoughtfully. It seems you could do with someone savvy to help you navigate these tricky matters with diplomacy. Like maybe killing everyone wasn't the best idea? Come, let us discuss our partnership over an ale or two. And we get the Fool card done, which is the mission, so
Well done.
we'll get some sick cards here. Usually a collection of cards from the mission. Cardinal Blade and Bastion of Purification. So it's a sword and a shield that we can put into our deck for future missions to have a chance to get those cards. Market Thief, Tarts, Pies, and Exotic Lies, Fork in the Road, Arm Wrestling. So we can have arm wrestling on future missions. We befriended Malaclips instead of trying to kill him, I guess. So we got Malaclips' Problem, which is a token-based questline. And we got the Trickster as a companion. And then we did get the token for getting the lemon cake in the woods. So we'll crack that open. And we get the Old Maiden as a result of that, which is a card, again, we can put into all of our future decks.
Welcome to my challenges. Together, we will traverse 22 paths of wisdom and despair in the hope of awakening.
Sweet! So I'm going to leave you here. That's going to do it for episode 1. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Hand of Fate 2 comes out on Tuesday on Steam. This might go up Sunday, Monday. Probably Monday. Go check it out. There will be a link in the video description below. You know, play it for yourself if you have the means and the desire. If you'd like to do so concurrently while watching me play. New episodes are going to go up every single day. If you enjoyed the episode, click the like button. Helps out a great deal, especially for the first episode of a series. Subscribe. You'll be notified of when these go live every single day. For now, thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. I'll see you tomorrow with The Magician. See you then.